you cannot fix South Africa as long as you've got open borders. You'll never fix South Africa, cannot fix Hillbrow unless you close the borders. If you don't close the borders, punish people who come here illegally, give them lengthy sentences. Because, I mean, I watched Herman Mashaba when he was still a mayor. I'm cleaning Joburg. The following day, these guys, they have no culture of cleanliness. You know, they spill water, cabbages all over. You're cleaning it for who? Because you have to change the culture, Abantu. And for you to change the culture, it means you must change them before they come here in Burkina Faso, in Rwanda. You must change them. Because when they come here, there's too many of them against us. I mean, when they come here, they feel no need. I mean, I'd be fighting people in the CBDs of Johannesburg. Somebody just urinating. I say, you're messing up my country. I mean, I see a person dumping next to the, outside the dustbin. I'll be fighting these guys, and most of them, they're foreigners. I say, can't you see the dustbin? Where you come from? They see no need. You see an adult, and the next thing, this guy is in Uber Eats. I've been fighting guys at toilet in malls, guys urinating. One of them was doing number 2, and I was washing my hands. This guy comes out, his Uber Eat. He's got a bag. I says, my man, aren't you going to wash hands because you're handling food? It doesn't comprehend. It doesn't have that in his head. Till now, we are socialized differently. That's why I normally say, South Africans, they can say that we think we are better. Black people in South Africa think that we are white. We are socialized differently. Even our cultures, Swazi, Ndebele, Tswana, Sotho, we know when to slaughter, we know when to do what, we know irrespect. These guys who are coming here, some of them, they come here with criminal records of biblical proportions. They've been involved with much genocide. And then you tell this person, which, and there's a paving there. They see a paving, they take, all the remains there and they go put them in their houses. I mean, check in the cities. Look, the buildings, nice architecture. It's now filled, what's this thing? Architecturalis. It's like cage, libraries cage. Wits, Wits University. Do you know Wits University didn't have a fence? In Wits University, you'll enter the side, go out that, that tower, Bopanato. There was never a fence. But after the arrival of these guys from all over Africa, Braamfontein was an academic city, so you can never fix it enough. This guy, they chow even the bridge, even these things, has barricaded the bridge. So G20 or not.
Whose fault is that?
And the crime in Braamfontein.
I agree with Ike. The country has deteriorated, and I've heard him when he says, you cannot, just because your government has failed to manage your city or your vicinity correctly, you cannot now migrate and try to decriminal or make or destandardize a now standardized area, right? However, look at it from the perspective of umuntu who is an average Joe, Ike, okay? The government has done the fuck ups that they've done wherever they've done up there. Now they're affecting the people at the bottom. All the people at the bottom know is that if I get to South Africa, they've got paving, my man. I've never seen paving in my life. If it was me, I was going to take that paving, nyogwaka indlu yami, so I can stop living in a hut. That's the mentality that's been conditioned into them. By who? Their own irresponsible governments. So do you really blame them, the low people? Or are they just a consequence of
I blame them, and I also blame the government of the day. I blame them. I also blame the government of the day, because the government of the day, they've allowed lawlessness to prevail. In the past, you knew what not to do in town. You would not just pee anywhere in town because the police would arrest you. They enforce their own laws. The ANC government, they've never enforced their own laws. Hence, we see the degeneracy that we see today. Hence, all the traffic lights are not working. The street lights in Johannesburg, we used to call Johannesburg Gauteng Maboneng. There's a reason for that, because people from the villages, when they came to Joburg, it was all lit. Today, you can't say Gauteng Maboneng, the city of lights. It is dark because there's cable theft. Who's doing cable theft? These guys, they've allowed it. So I blame the government of the day. Yeah. And besides load shedding was created by them. I mean, they were told, the most educated president, Thabo Mbeki, was told to build power stations. He did not do that. He was so busy pleasing the globalists, implementing structural adjustment, cutting here, cutting that, including SOEs and schools, some ambachs, empowering his own people in BEE, empowering Zanele Mbeki, empowering Bomutsipe, empowering all his people. Today, we are sitting with companies closing down because of The policies that they've implemented there, they've built nothing. What Tokyo? What has Tokyo built? What has Cyril Ramaphosa built other than being plugged in? So it is their policies that, which have led us here.
But then how do you blame the average foreigner? I understand how you blame the government of the day for not enforcing their own rules. But me as just the average Joe foreigner who has been suffering due to the mismanagement of my own government, I have now decided to run and come to South Africa where there's a better, in my perspective at least, a better running. How are you blaming me? What am I supposed to do?
No. That argument is flawed. Let me tell you this. Once you find your snake in your sitting room, you deal with the snake first. How it came in there, it's another issue. A person cannot come into your country and start women and children, subjecting them to prostitution, immorality. You know what is good and right. Irrespective whether there is enforcement or not, you know what is good and what is right. What Nigerians are doing here is wrong. I mean, there's natural laws, or laws from the Bible, or laws from the Quran. Thou shalt not kill. Zimbabweans, they're known for brutal killings. If you're going to come into somebody's country and start feeding them fake products, you know that is wrong. And you cannot bank with, the government is not doing much. You know that is wrong. I mean, I move around. I don't treat people, with disrespect simply because there's no one watching me. So these guys, they come into the country and they cannot come and say, because you people that, you're also stealing, you also have your own criminals. So now it means that if I come to your house, I find good, your child is also stealing sugar. I must also steal Nami, your wallet. That is nonsense. And they like this argument of saying, white people came here from 1652, they took your land, they also did crimes against you. So now if they are African brothers born and they call themselves with the African brothers, if a foreigner is my sister, now we must come and also sister. That is nonsense. These guys, from where they came from, they had their own affirmative action. They messed up their own countries. They voted dictators. And then when it fails, they run to other countries. South Africans are the only black nation on earth that are so proud. They've got their own culture. They don't run to any other country. Even during apartheid, when they had the reason to run, it never ran. I mean, APLA had about 25,000 cadres. MK had about 40,000 cadres. Not even 300,000 people left South Africa. But here we've got half of Zimbabwe is here. More than 5 million Nigerians. I mean, they say here, the people who are here, those who are in the know, they say almost 20 million foreigners are here. And you tell me, I mean, people of Palestine, do you see them all over the world? It's only these African guys. They want a soft life. They're always running. And then when they come here into your shores, they start criticizing you. In America, they're experiencing the same. They say African foreigners are the most disrespectful. They're starting to insult them and say black Americans are lazy and all that. And they're taking opportunities which are supposed to accrue to Americans who've been enslaved there. And then that's why Americans are hitting back and say, you sold us to slavery, now you're following us here. So they're so disrespectful. That's why even Ghana today, they're fighting Nigeria to go back to your country. So when they come here, they don't assimilate. They want to rule, and they're very arrogant. Nigerians and Zimbabweans, they're very, very arrogant. They're very vocal. Yet they fail in their own countries. That's why I'm surprised when a person like Ramaphosa can go to Zimbabwe and tell Mnangagwa that you've done well, and whatever that you implemented in Zimbabwe, what you implement here. If Zimbabwe is doing so well, why are the people running away from their own government? Tanzania, they're running away. I mean, you look at a country like Malawi. It's a country that it lives on donations. Even during the era of Foster, they begged an apartheid government to please accommodate my people. I've got 500,000 people to work in South Africa. Where is the pride there? I mean, Afrikaners, I respect them and I love them for one thing. As they say, with the Apure Maka plan. And they still making plans, even today, even when there were sanctions, they're making, their own institutions, making sure that their culture is preserved, making sure that they're still running as a people. What about us? We've got BEE guys who are bragging, buying soccer clubs, dancing, buying alcohol.
I'm just wondering, right, in terms of the operation now, let's say that all of these illegal foreigners should go back, right? How will that look like? Because most of them now even have kids with South African people.
They must,
They have businesses.
they must take their kids
But
and go with them. Business is a legal entity. They'll see how they maneuver. And it's the same argument that our sisters are always making, especially amaXhosa, because this thing started there, but otata babantwana bethu. And if the baby daddy, he's so cultural. According to African culture, umakoti follows the men. They must follow their husbands to Nigeria. Where is the pride? Nigerians, whenever they marry a woman, I've seen many of them marrying grandmothers of 89, a young man of 22, because he wants a citizenship to Europe, a citizenship to United States. They have no sense of pride. They must go take their wives.
But you don't think it's survival in some instances? Because I have a problem with the illegal ones, right? More especially the ones that do crime. Right? But there's ones that, because there aren't opportunities.
You want to say the ones that are legal?
No, there isn't that many that are legal, and most of them actually have businesses in South Africa, and they hire South Africans.
They don't even make 1%, because many of them, they're supposed to come here providing scarce skills that South Africans do not have. And what scarce skills can Malawi have that South Africa don't have? Majority of them, they come here under false pretense, even their passports. If we can do an assessment, we start investigating these passports, how many people got their passport, there's a commission of inquiry, you'll find that 98% of them are not supposed to be here. Some, they come with student visas, they overstay after, and some of them, they're not even students. Some, they come as tourists and they never leave. So 98% of them, if they left, South Africa will be much better, and they left with their children. Some of the guys who were in exile in South Africa, they made babies. They took their babies with, and they came to South Africa. And they must go back to Zimbabwe, where they came from.
There's a Zimbabwean that I saw. They said to him, "Hamba buyele Zimbabwe." Then he said, how about you as a South African, uye Zimbabwe, then come back and tell me if there's anyone that can live in that country.
Nonsense.
The question that I'm asking is, I met another Zimbabwean guy who didn't have opportunities in Zimbabwe, and he came here to be a bricklayer, right? He's bricklaying and he's washing my car, and I felt so guilty. I allowed him to wash my car because he said to me, because if I don't wash this car, what's next besides crime?
No, then he's blackmailing you. Besides crime, you must go back. Therefore, it means now everyone must threaten, the whole country and say, guys, if you don't give me work, then I'm gonna come to your house. People must be creative. And these ones, can I continue? These ones are foreigners. They've got their own country. They vote in their own country. They must work the land. I mean, they took land. They are bragging, which Zimbabweans have land. They must go back and work land. And there's always an alternative. When people saying there's nothing, it means, the options are difficult and they don't want to take those difficult. They must plant vegetables, do something, wait for the rain, go to the rivers, plant. But now they come here to South Africa, and then they start violating South Africans. They start telling us, now we must go to Zimbabwe. And I can tell you one thing. All South Africans who are married to foreigners, those who've befriended them, those who've sleeping with them, those who are joining with them, if South Africans were to disappear in South Africa, including your foreign boyfriend, they will celebrate because they want to substitute us. This is a Trojan horse. These guys don't love us. You can tell, even during our discourse, whenever we're crying a crime, I'm a foreigner, which is there. They feel that you are being xenophobic. And even South Africans, they are now afraid to voice out their opinions. If I'm in a relationship with a foreigner, and this person is going to suppress me not to speak my mind, that person doesn't love you. I can see Nigerians. What is the crime in Nigerian? Prostitution, drugs. Where do Nigerians work? Ethiopians, when they come here, they're selling these fake products that they manufacture themselves, Somalis, fake products. They employ no one, and they're giving our kids poisons. And if you raise that, if it's xenophobic, then there's a problem. If I have a partner who's a foreigner, and each time I raise this issue, and then I'm labeled as xenophobic, but now he can criticize me. Now I must also join him and say, South Africans are xenophobic. Take your kid with a flat head and go to Nigeria. You can't flat lie move. And as South African women, I must emphasize this. South African women, like I've said, they're the most beautifulest in the world because of a variety. In the world, I'm not making a mistake. In the world, even Zulus don't look the same. Colors don't look the same. They look Indians, they look, Philippine, even white people in South Africa. Some of them, they've got calves, they've got palms, even Botswanas, beautiful. But now these guys are coming. There is no time in Nigeria. All women in Nigeria, they're ugly. So they're coming here. They're coming here to mix their genes. In the future, in South Africa, we're going to have a child who's a girl child of 14 years. Long, not even tall, long enough, and this kid will be wearing size 14 shoes.